seems like I forgot to change day 25. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd just start off. I'm actually on day 25. Okay. A lot's gone on this month, actually, where VR is concerned, and Star Citizens, and Death of the Spaceman. And I've been using lossless scaling, which I'm very surprised on. Well, today the lossless scaling is actually working with smoothing on the NVIDIA app. But the way I had to do that, I actually had to turn off the MSI Afterburner because of the overlay. Now, because of now, and then what I then did, when I got the game running and loaded, I then loaded in MSI Afterburner. So that's why you see all this horrible texts. I mean, if you look there, you might call them artifacts, I call them interference. Okay? Now, what this means is, to me, I will call it latency. Because remember, we're using software and we're using the NVIDIA app at the same time. The NVIDIA app is built for NVIDIA. Well, you know, I don't know. Okay, I've not gone into it. I just see differences. Now, at the moment, I'm showing a native frame rate at 60 frames per second. That's not bad. And I would say that, well, it's not bad. I don't know the details properly, but one thing I have noticed, I'm only using 300 watts. 6% of the graphics at 50 Celsius in 6K, not 8K, because I'm tuning the PC for VR. But the power consumption is 80 watts. So what this tells me, this is the NVIDIA app working in the background. Okay, and I've also got smoothing working in the background. But like I explained earlier, to get the smoothing working in the background, I had to switch off Afterburner, load the game up first, and then Afterburner, so I can see the numbers. But still, I have lossless scaling running in the background also. And to prove that, if you look, it's 235 frames per second. That's practically 4 times the NVIDIA app, as you can see. Alright? Now, reason why I like that, I know the graphics are rubbish, I can see it, it's a little bit irritating. Because I've been messing with this for so long now, I can actually see between the lines. The first thing I see is how smooth it is. Okay? No shimmering. Because I've been doing this for so long now, I can actually see the differences. So all I've got to do is work out which is the best to put the best of the best when running these sort of programs. It's not a one fix all, and actually at the end of the day, people want these things to work outside the box. They haven't got time to be doing all this business and doing all that business. I get it, but it's the understanding. But because I'm into future tech and system analyzing and game and VR and all them kind of things, all these things is a benefactor to me at the end of the day. But how to explain it to you at the end of the day is complicated. That's the reasons why I use AI. Now remember, I will repeat again, I am actually using the NVIDIA app, okay, with smoothing and DLAA. Alright, that's one app on its own. Now that works okay as long as I'm not using the Afterburner. the Reba tuner because that has overlay. So to get around that, I had to load up the game first and then load up Reba tuner, or else it would not load. Okay, now as you already will know, I've been using the lossless scaling on top, but like I said, that was very surprising. That also stopped the shimmering at very high frame rates. Yeah, I mean, and you could get 2, 3, 4, 500 frames per second. That's multiplied on your native. My native frames at the moment is 57. That's on the left hand side. That's about acceptable. Okay, but it's got third frame generation of 4 times that. If you look to the right at the top, it's running at 240 frames. That's with frame generations working. Now my monitor is only 120, so I'm injecting frames in between the NVIDIA app and also my monitor. You cannot see that, I agree, alright? But when it comes to shimmering and the smoothness, it is actually noticeable. Now with people with lower end graphics card and older specs, the lossless scaling works. I've not tested this yet. I have got an older PC to test this, but in the last couple of weeks I've been extremely busy because there's a lot of new tech coming in, which makes it difficult. But at the moment, like I said, there is a lot of artifacts because I'm using 2 programs in the background. And if you look on the door, you can see something that's not shimmering. I would say that's latency because it's like looking into the future and back into the present. And because it's going backwards and forwards, two programs are interacting. You can only use one or the other. So I understand that clearly. But this is not what you want to see when you want to see perfection. I get it. But remember, when you're used to something and something changes, you notice instantly. And I'm using a 65-inch monitor, 75-inch monitor. But to my amazement, I'm only using 75% of the graphics at 350 watts. With the let me just put it this way. Surprising enough, I don't even need the fans on it in the background. But one thing I am using is a lot of RAM. That's because I've not cleaned the RAM. It has got an automatic tuner on there, but I'm going to clean the RAM because the RAM also gives better performance. Just give me 1 second. Look on the left hand side in blue, you see the RAM go down because basically data systems don't use that much RAM, you know. And the memory leaks, I'm not saying it's being fixed, okay? See, because my PC is so powerful, I've got so much bandwidth in the background to do certain things. See, that's not it. It's called quick CPU. Okay, the memory is being cleaned. Now, because it's not set up properly, looking at that light, it's like you're in a car. And you know when it rains, it distorts the image. And that when it's dark, that's interference. But I know why that's causing that. I'm using two types of motion smoothing. One on the LS, one on the NVIDIA app, which is working, and the other one on this on the lossless scaling. You know what I'm going to do? I know the lossless scaling is better, can go higher. You can't control the one on the NVIDIA. I'm going to turn off the one on the lossless scaling. Now it would be so easy to show these programs as I'm doing in the background. But I've got so much things going on in the background, which is personal. I don't really want any mistakes. That's the only reason why I'm not showing them at the moment. Right. Maximum frame latency, 14. I have to remember these numbers in my head. I'm going to turn it to 0. But it's 1 actually. Now run the program. No changes. But what I've noticed, when I'm touching the keyboard, the frames drop on the lossless scaling. I can't see any drops on the frame picture quality overall. That is because it's over 60 on the 1% load, and the 1% low is practically matching the NVIDIA app. Okay, so I'm going to put that back to 14. Which one was it? 14. I hope it was this one. No, it wasn't that one. That was on 1. So it had to be this one. 14. So the problem is, it seems like the problem can be in the NVIDIA app. But now looking at it, it is starting to be a little bit annoying. But it's definitely injecting 3 times its amount. I was wondering for a minute, did I have sound coming through? Yes, I got sound coming through, that's good. Now by rights, I should restart all this again and shut down the NVIDIA app. But remember, I am testing different scenarios. Okay, I'm lucky to actually have access to these software because remember, I've got an old PC which used to be the latest tech 10 years ago, and it did break barriers. You see, I'm struggling to read the texts. I never had that problem at the end of the day when I was using lossless scaling. Now, does it work properly without the lossless scaling? Yes, obviously, because if it did, you could use it. Oh, this is, you see, it's not shimmering, all right? But like I said, it's like it's raining. So there's no way tomorrow I'm going to be using this on my streaming tomorrow because it doesn't look good. So I'm going to be sticking with the Nvidia app, okay? I will not be using the smoothing on the Nvidia app. I will be using the smoothing on the lossless scaling. Big disappointment because the first thing I noticed, like I said earlier, looking to the top left hand side, I'm only using 50 Celsius. That's not bad for heating, and 70% of the graphics at 350 watts. That's nearly half of the power. But then again, I'm not in 8K. So let's go to 8K and let's see what we've got. I'm not going to 8K plus, I'm going to 8K. But the reason why I'm using the 6K is because that is the highest I should be able to get in VR. Okay? The GPU is still the same. The percentage is about the same. The watts is about the same. They're both going to buy about 10% because it's higher. But there's redundancy there, a heck of a lot. And that's what you need. And why you need the redundancies for the 1% lows and other things running in the background so you don't have crashes. But the CPU at 75 watts, that is actually half of what it would be if you wasn't using the lossless scaling. And look at the temperatures. That's at 50 Celsius. I've not even got the fans on. I'm going to put the fans on. I don't think it makes no difference. It's that bloody low. Just give me a sec. Because my fan controls are so high, I mean what I've got in there, you cannot notice a difference. But I know the difference because my SSDs is where them fans really shine. I'm just looking around at all the numbers, doing the comparison. That's really good now. If you want to know the truth, you might not want to believe this, but you can actually run a language model in the background. And why I'm saying this is, if you look at the RAM, that's only using 17 gigs. I got 48 gigs of RAM in this, alright? Running at 9,200 mega transfer. I could run GTP OSS in the background. And it would cover it. but then again I'm in space. But I don't like the disturbance of the graphics. Just give me a minute, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Well, like I says, I really don't like the rain effect. I'm gonna nickname this with the artifact disturbance. I'm gonna call that rain effect. What you get when it's raining at night on a car windscreen when the lights are showing. That's what I will call that effect. And that is caused because I've got two types of smoothing running in the background. I've got the lossless gaming running and the NVIDIA running. Okay, now that means one is going through the GPU and back to CIG and back towards. There is a latency and a delay causing that effect. That might not be the way it's working, I don't know. I just noticed at the end of the day, for me that's not acceptable. And I know at the end of the day you can see it because I can see it on your screen. And now what that also means, I cannot read text. Now to show you what I mean by that, I am struggling to read the mess hall. As you can see, if I stay still it clears up. So there's desync there, definitely desync. Now what level desync is I don't know, okay, because if it's desync, that could be a 1 to 2 second delay in desync, and that is not good for VR or normal monitors. Okay, that is definitely desync. It's like there's two resolutions coming in the top. Let me just turn off. Where is it? I can't see it. I know. Ah, there it is. I'm going to turn it off. No, that hasn't stopped it. So for me, it's one or the other. So I prefer to use the smooth motioning on the lossless scaling, because at the end of the day, the readable of the text is the most important thing. And I'll prove that because now I'm going to go to the dashboard of the cockpit. This is totally not acceptable under no circumstances, and there's no way I'm going to sit down here for 8 hours and watch this garbage. But I have to show the difference. So how long can I sit in there? Like I said, with me, shimmering would drive me crazy. But if I want to play the game to its highest level, the text is the most important thing. But I can't watch. It's like driving at night when it's raining and a car shining its lights at me. That's what I see here. Smooth motion and shimmering is brilliant, even at 200 frames. But if you notice, it's only, it looks like it's only on light background. I don't understand how that works. But that is definitely desync. But even when it's not moving, it's still showing the offset. That can't be VR. No, it's not. I'm looking for the elevator. There it is. After a while, it does become disturbing. It does. I want to talk about the Pico next. That's supposed to be coming out at the end of the year. I've read its specs. Not impressed. Right. Who's heard about the specs of the Pico Swan? What you see in paper. I've actually applied to become a beta tester, but because I'm into future tech, I know what to expect. That rhymed actually. No, what I mean is, you see, you might not think I don't know anything about these equipment, but remember, when you're spending money, you have to know what you're spending your money on. Now, everybody knows Pico is a copycat of the MetaQuest. Standard fact. Because they compete with the price. Which is understandable. It's honestly, you know what I mean? I'm not mocking it, don't get me wrong. Okay? Because people can only spend what they can afford. Alright? And that is what the Pico is. They copy other companies. They might not say that's not true, but it's a Chinese company, and I'm not being racist, okay? Don't think that, because it's... Right, if you think what you want, at the end of the day, like I said, Pico is a copycat. It's a Chinese company. This is what they do. But if they can advertise something cheaper and you can use it, then it's worth it. End of story. I get it. But me, would I use it? No. Because at the end of the day, the consistency and the reliability later on can change with no guarantees. Especially when it comes down to warranty. I'm from the UK, you see, and it can cause a lot of problems. So that's my excuse, putting it nicely. Okay? Now, what is good about the Pico and what's bad about it? Pico is now moving away from the MetaQuest, and now they want to interpret the Apple Vision Pro. Wow. Okay. from a £300 headset to a £3,000 headset. Wow. Okay. What they're going to be offering? Wi-Fi 7. Sony, the Apple Vision Pro hasn't got that. Direct connection. The Apple Vision Pro hasn't got that. That's a winner right there. The lenses, I don't know where they're getting their lenses from, but it's supposed to be better. They're on a winner there, so obviously they're not making their own lens because they're nothing like Sony and Samsung that make their own lens. Remember, they do cameras, don't forget, if you want to know where their lenses come from. And all they've done is put them into their VR headset. And remember, they also make TVs. And that's where the OLED comes in, the micro OLED comes in, the well, you know, and they're the best in the field in that department. Yes, Sony comes out first, and then obviously Samsung tops them. You know how it goes. I know, because remember, I used to be a Sony man, okay, until I went to Samsung. Samsung's brighter, but the reason why I chose Samsung is because where I live, the sun sets in one, what they call it. Sony isn't light enough, so the TV is dark. So I have to close my windows so I can watch TV. The technology's changed now though, okay? Well, that's the reason why I use Samsung, because of the lighting, as you can see. Right, we've got that sorted. Now with the Apple Vision Pro, not the Apple Vision Pro, with the Pico, they're using two processors. I'm not going to go into details, but you know where I'm coming from. The same as the Apple Vision Pro. Now, one thing you guys need to take into account, Pico used to use Tobii eye tracking. Alright? Now, from when you hear Tobii eye tracking, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. I'm no exception. But Pico is moving away from Tobii. So I looked into the reasons why, and they're moving away. Because Sony, the latency is better than Tobii. I never knew that. I knew that it was good, but remember, Sony has its limitations, and that's why I wasn't interested, okay, in the Sony. The reason why I wasn't interested in the Sony is to get comfort, is cross-references, Wi-Fi 7, direct connection. My PC, Star Citizen, it doesn't work. Alright, it does work, but not for what I want. My PC's high-end, I have to have certain things. And that was the reasons why I didn't go the Apple Vision Pro. But like they said, the Pico is a copycat. They're taking the best from this and the best from that and the best of everything at the end of the day. But remember, they're a cheap company, okay? Because remember, they copied the Apple Vision, they copied the Meta Quest, but now they're competing with Sony. Can they really come down to the prices at the end of the day? I don't think so. There's too much to take into account. Remember, Pico does not manufacture their own stuff, just like the Pimax. They're all imported stuff in at the end of the day. So there is prices to, it's like there's another word I use. It will come back to me. Now remember, I'm not using the AI to speak, I'm actually speaking generally, okay? There's a lot going for Pico at the end of the day. But when it comes to your pocket and the ecosystem, will it work? Here's another thing. Pico has now got this new processor. It can now emulate Android and its operating system. on all those operators. So when you hear that, whoa, Pico is in there. What I'm trying to say to you, Pico emulates everything, the copycat. But because we've got so much running, how long can it last? You want your money's worth. How much will it cost? You see where I'm coming from? They're saying at the moment 1,300 quid. Can you see that? If they're going to be importing the stuff, it's not possible. Remember, I think they're now going for the tech giants like Apple Vision Pro. You know what I mean? And Apple Vision Pro is nearly 4 bloody grand. And they want to put Wi-Fi in there, direct connection in there, better lenses in there, higher resolutions in there, their own operating systems in there, HDR. Can you see where I'm coming from? And at the end of the day, if they, and remember, it used to be Toby, but now they're writing their own system because they found the way how to write it. I get it. But excuse me 1 minute, when you take that into account, where does that leave Pimax? Oops. You see where I'm coming from? Now let's get back into the Samsung Galaxy XR. Samsung Galaxy XR is 2 years behind Sony. Okay? But remember, both them companies make most of their own stuff. But remember, with this Apple Vision Pro, they got the Tech One the same price as the Samsung Galaxy XR, and the new ones that come out Gen 2 is stuck at the original price because it's not needed, but it's got a lot of things missing. So that means, technically speaking, Samsung Galaxy is 2 years behind Sony. But Sony has got a better idea, and in the next generation, the next gen, they will be coming out with direct connection. They will be coming out with Wi-Fi systems you've got already. They will be coming out with 2 processors. They're making their own screens. Can you see where I'm coming from? At the end of the day, so they will always be cheaper, and they will have the latest tech. They are slow in rolling out, I agree, but will it work? Well, if you had the Gear VR 8 years ago, you wouldn't take a chance. But I'm holding back. Remember, Pimax was what I wanted, okay? And I spent a lot of time pushing Pimax because of the Tobii eye tracking. But Pimax cannot hold it, okay? I thought they would have been able to come back in a couple of years, but as long as they have to import their stuff, their price comparison cannot match. And these other companies say, well, why have they got this? At the end of the day, they came out with super ultra wide lenses, okay, with the whatever, which was beneficial. They should have kept on that, but people said make it cheaper, make it smaller. They don't want a brick on their heads, okay? But that was Pimax. But Pimax tried to do what everybody else has done. They're losing the throne now, and they're coming out with all these modules at the day to compete, and they can't keep up, and that's why they're late. Pimax is losing it for me there now at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I still swear by Tobii, but if Samsung Galaxy can deliver, I am going Samsung, because remember, they're the early adopters now. Now let's talk about latency on finger tracking. The finger tracking, or whatever you want to call it, the Apple Vision Pro is 8 milliseconds. The Tobii is 10 milliseconds. The Pico is 12 milliseconds. Samsung is 20 milliseconds. Okay, and that's why the Samsung is pretty bad. Okay, Now I don't know what eye tracking they're going to be using, but they can't use what they're using at the moment because it doesn't work. Now I know it's difficult because I'm playing Star Citizens and I'm doing waffling in the background. You just want to see pictures, you want to see comparisons, you want to see all of this. I agree. But remember, at the end of the day, all this is in my head. I could sit down there and spend hours showing pictures and showing this, but remember, we're treading on other companies here, alright? And if something is true, they need to shut you up fast. Because remember, they paid for all of this, and the last thing they want is to find out they're dead on arrival. Alright? Dead on arrival. Now, I am into future tech. My PC is 2 years old coming up this Christmas. And you know something? It's no slouch. And it's held up for 1 year and it's not beaten. Okay? Because at the end of the day, what's in this PC, you would not believe at the end of the day the power of this PC. The let's put it this way. 9,200 mega transfer. That RAM is fast. But when the minute I turn around and say it's running in gear 4, okay, you're going to divide that by 4. So when you divide 9,200 mega transfer, that's 8,000. That's just over 2,000 mega transfer. That's slower than gear 1. You see where I'm coming from? So when you hear that, it's running the half the speed of the first of DDR4, which is true. But when you start adding the bandwidth in there, what does that mean? I'm running the kitchen sink in this. Star Citizen can run at 2,000 mega transfer. You see where I'm coming from? I've still got 6,000 mega transfers left to run other programs in the background. And then when you work out, what am I using? I'm using Samsung 9000. I'm using Samsung 9100 Pro in Gen 5. Yeah, okay. I'm running in range 0 in Gen 5. So when you take that into account, it's not running at 1500 mega transfer. It's running at 45 mega thousand. You see where I'm coming from. Alright, well how the hell am I keeping that cool? I ripped out all their heat sinks and I'm using Thermite razor blade fans to cool it down because Star Citizen is taking so much power from, basically, as you can see, it gets really technical. So to show all of this, you guys need pictures. At the end of the day, you need diagrams. I get it. Well, guess what? Give me a minute. Food time. I have to eat. You know what? I'm going to make me breakfast while I'm talking to you. I spent 400 quid on shopping yesterday. £400? Yeah. I spent £400 on shopping yesterday. And that's the first shopping I've done since Christmas. Well, what have we been eating? Well, like I said, I'm all about saving. I do shopping twice a year. By the way, it's nice every 4 months actually. But I buy wholesale. And it actually works out than going to the corner shop or the supermarket by a massive margin. But anyway, we're not talking about tech on food, okay? We're talking about, this is actually long-winded because like I said, I've applied to be a beta tester for Pico, and to tell you the truth, I don't think I can do it. You know what I mean? I will be accepted, but I don't think I can do it because when I'm doing PC tech, I like to stick with one product. Because what people don't see, you have to look into the future of the product, advertise that product, and when it comes out, you also have to make changes to show why that product works. Okay, and that is what I did with eye tracking and Pimax, because at the end of the day, it's what you spend, what you save is what you spend, and you want to make sure you got your money's worth and it's not too expensive. But I spend money in a different way. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I cannot or might not be able to do Pico, because if I go onto Pico, okay, all the work I've been doing on the Samsung Galaxy XR will go out of the window, and that means it's a full year of system tech, future tech gone out the window. Now what I mean by that is I did the same thing with Pimax, and because I saw what was going on, I knew Pimax wasn't going to cut it. You see where I'm coming from? Because at the end of the day, to make certain things work, you need certain hardware to make it work. Without the hardware, the software will not work. That's the problem, okay? Which people don't seem to understand. But a proper systems analyzer knows at the end of the day, if you've got a car, don't expect to drive the car down the road with no wheels. It's not going to move. So yeah, I can slip that one in. But that's what it means at the end of the day. And that's why you see these headsets now, sorry about all the noise in the background, they're very expensive, alright? And everybody's going to turn around and say, well, I can't afford £2,000. But seriously, you can. Alright? You can. But we're not going to get into that tech at the moment, because like I said, it's opening a can of worms into all sorts of different things. But anyway, like I said, I was really going to start on the Pico. There's a reason why I'm not going to Pico, because at the end of the day, Pico is a Chinese company, okay? And they don't come out with their own stuff, they come out with imitations or copycats. It's not bad, because remember, you spend what you can afford, okay? And I'm from the UK, and because I'm from the UK, I need the warranty, because when I buy things, I want it to last. I want it to work, which is understandable. And PK now, they're going to copy Sony. Sony's not the leaders, alright? They're not the leaders. Okay, they're expensive, but they're not expensive. Why? Because the tech that's inside the Sony is actually better and cheaper than the Samsung Galaxy XR. You get a lot more, but at the end of the day, when you look at £4,000 compared to £2,000, you're going to pick the Samsung Galaxy XR because it's what you can afford. You see where I'm coming from? So I'm making my breakfast, but I'm still here in the background, you guys, okay? And that's one thing Samsung's got up its sleeve, okay? Now with Pico, they're going into the Sony at the end of the day, but Sony can't hold it, because remember, Sony's are not going to be the leaders. Samsung Galaxy is going to be because of the price, and don't forget, they're both competitors against each other. I've got to take out what to call it. So does that mean when you spend your £2,000 with Pico, does it become dated? I don't know how long that piece of string is, but for £2,000 I ain't going to take that chance. okay? And I wouldn't take, and with the Apple Vision Pro, I would take the chance because, like I said, before that PC becomes dated, that Sony is 4 years old. So when you divide that £4,000, okay, that's about £1,000 a year. Okay, it's still a lot of money. It's a heck of a lot of money. And at the end of the day, you've not got money to burn. But if you understand the logistics of these headsets, I've got a 75-inch monitor. Okay, my 75-inch monitor burns 300 watts an hour. Okay, a headset only burns 60 watts an hour. I play for 17 hours a day mostly, but my PC's on all day. Alright, now when you start working that out and you work it out on a monthly, daily, monthly and yearly, a VR headset pays for itself. Okay, but this is not advertised because people are not logistically minded in that sense. You can see where I'm coming from, but we're not talking about what you save, what you can buy, blah blah blah. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about the Pico. Is it worth the investment to what's coming out? Like I said, I don't know. But to what I know about the future of tech, it's dangerous. Okay? Because remember, they're a copycat company. They copy everybody. Now they're moving from the Meta Quest to the Apple Vision Pro. Okay? And yes, they have got some crap there coming out that looks like, hey, yeah. But like I says, at the end you've got to be careful. Because £2,000 is not something you can mess around with. It's got all the promises, but remember the first thing when I watched their advert, the first thing they said, they're holding everything back until the end of the year. Why? Because they don't know themselves. Okay? Because remember, all they have to do, because their sets are modular in such a way, you know what I mean? Their sets are modular in such a way they can swap their part quickly. And as long as they've got the programmers, which they're advertising for now, it just takes minutes. You just got to be careful these days. So for my money, I will stick, well anyway, for my money I will stick with the Samsung Galaxy. That's me, okay? Because I know what the future holds for that, okay? But the poor thing is, where does it leave Pimax? That is some scary crap. Because remember, they're coming out with the system with the inside out tracking for 2,300 quid, okay? And it can't even deliver 25%, 50% of what's coming out at the end of the year. They have lost the throne because they can't manufacture their own stuff. They had the edges with the lenses when they were doing ultra wide. They went off it because people complained they don't have brick over there. But that's what made that company. Okay? And when they went Wi-Fi, it helped their ecosystem, although they are direct, but people didn't understand the future of tech. So for me, Pimax is dying. I'm just telling you that's how I see it, because remember, it's my money and I'm not going to give it away for just giving it away sake, if that makes sense. It's like me saying to you, oh, you've got £2,000 there, give me £2,000. You know what I mean? You're going to say, get the fuck out of here, you're not going to do it. And that's what I'm trying to say, you're not. You just got to understand. And these companies, they're there to make money, and if you've got it, they will sell you anything. And now, I don't agree why people are selling empty promises. They've not got the product, and you can go into all these things. Oh, what they call them things before they come out, statistics did the same shit. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I bet it's their future, and I was happy with what I was paying for. End of story. Right, 1 second. I could have sworn. Okay. Yeah, all that noise in the background, you guys. I am making my brekkie. All right, I have to eat. But if I'm going to be sitting on here 14 and 18 hours, the last thing you want is for me to keep cutting the video and blocking me that you took off from. You know what I mean? You don't really want that. Okay? But usually I try to I'm trying to timestamp things because 18 hours to switch through is a bit time consuming. I get it. And today, I think I've got my daughter coming round that needs to go to uni, and she's about 7 months pregnant, or is it 9 months? So I've got to sort the grandchildren out and all that rubbish. Not say I'm annoying. Oh, guess what? I've given my grandchildren nicknames now. I call this she's got 3 children coming in. Okay, you might think this is horrible, but this is my sense of humor. But get the catch. One is 2.5, 3. That's the boy. That's the first born. The second born is 2, 1.5. That's the girl. And the next one to be born is the little boy. I think she's gonna kill me. She's gonna roast my ass, alright. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, I go to the granddaughter who's 1.5, and I say, neglected granddaughter, where's the bad brook? That's the oldest son. That's 2.5. He's naughty, but he makes you laugh. He's naughty, so I call him Bad Brook. And now I've got the third one coming on. I call him Disappointment. So the story is, I go to the neglected granddaughter and say, where's the Bad Brook? It's a big disappointment. You got to laugh. But remember, that's my personality. I've always been like that. I get to give everybody a nickname. All my family, they've all got nicknames. But it's not to insult them, because it could be because of the way I remember things, the way I speak or whatever. But it's all in good humour. Anyway, let's get back to the PC. Okay. Like I said, when I'm doing tech, you can't have all these techs, because to switch from different techs at the end of the day, you've got to switch to different programming, you've got to switch to different games and different PCs. PC tech is not about that at the end of the day, because it doesn't give an idea of the person what they really want. You know what I mean? As long as they understand. But when you give an idea of what you're working on, okay, let's give you an idea. You got flight sim guy, all right? What does he play? He plays FS 2000, that flight simulator game. Oh, okay. All right, okay. What's that going to do? No, listen. He plays FS Flight Simulator 2000. That's a cockpit sit-down game, okay? And he's a VR specialist. So anything to do with PC sit-down gaming, he will play, because that's what he does. He specializes in Flight Simulator FS 2000. He's focusing on one game, okay? One game. Now, because he's into VR, he can practically use any VR at the end of the day, up to within reason, because the game he's playing, technically speaking, I don't know too much. Well, yeah, I do. Okay, he's using it at the end of the day. Now he's into VR. Okay, so when he gets his VR, guess what? He's got to upgrade his PC. You see where I'm coming from? So his PC can work with that VR and get the smooth frame rates. Okay, and because he's into flight simulator, he needs a rocking chair. What the hell is it? No, I'm not that old. What I mean is a flight motion simulator, because that's what he plays. Okay, and he's just got into tech and all that kind of rock. Where am I coming from? Alright, look at Star Citizens. Star Citizens is a very future ambitious game. What you can think of, what you can imagine, Star Citizens has got. Alright? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is Star Citizens, I keep saying, is not a sit-down cockpit game. Okay? It's like Half-Life Polaris. So you're going to be running around. So because you're going to be running around, okay, direct connection is not enough. Okay? You need the high specs. That's not enough at the end of the day. So for when you need the high specs, okay, the Pimax, that's the word I was trying to find. The Pimax will not work because it's just direct connection. You attach an umbilical cord. The Samsung Galaxy XR, at the end of the day, is Wi-Fi. But it's not got direct connection. I get it. Okay, they will change. But at the end, if you know the tech, you can make it just as quick. I'm not going to get into all of that because the research I've done is a heck of a lot. Alright? But that's what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, you have to build a PC. Now with Star Citizen, you also need RAM. And you also need fast RAM. And your PC has to be built so it can play Star Citizens. Can it play Crisis? Can you see where I'm coming from? Crisis is 100 years old. Crisis is not Star Citizen. This is not future tech. So when people who play FS Flight Simulator, alright, the first thing they see is Tobii eye tracking. Now we've all moved on from there. Now we've now got VR. But because VR was a sit-down cockpit game, everybody went Tobii, which is understandable. Okay, but for Star Citizens, it's not. It's old tech. Okay. Don't want to burn myself. And that's why I moved on to the Samsung Galaxy XR. But as you said, everybody's been advertising it's a direct connection. I get it. Okay, but Star Citizen is not a direct connection. And also it's a multiplayer game. So it now comes down to desync and latency. That's the killer when you get your headsets at the end of the day. Okay? The latency and the desync. Okay? So you need a PC and you need a VR system that can cut down the latency. And that's why everybody dived on to the Pimax Crystal. Okay? Now you've got racing car games. Racing car games need super ultra wide. Okay? So guess what? The Pimax Crystal was born with 140 field of view. See where I'm coming from? Okay. Now, what went wrong with Pimax? People interfered with their ecosystem. Poor guys. Cut down the price. You don't need this, it's distorted and whatnot. Depending on what game you play, it determines what lens you use. Okay? Does Star Citizens need 140 field of view? No, it does not. Why? Because the Star Citizens is not just ultra wide. They've got the dashboard. They've got the just like in a car. You see where I'm coming from? But they need the dashboard because of all these computer dials. So the super ultra wide at the end of the day doesn't work. You see where I'm coming from? What they need is clarity. That's the PPD. And that's why you need the OLED, micro OLED, and then you've got the color. You see, what I'm trying to say is, depending on the game you are using, then you can define what type of VR to use. But with Star Citizen, it's just not about the VR, it's about the PC. Yeah, that is the hardest. Okay, it's about the PC. But remember, with the PC and Star Citizens, as long as you know you've got the highest of the highest, it will work. Okay, so when someone comes to you and says, well, Pimax is the best for Star Citizen, just tell them to shut up, because it's not. Okay, it's not, because Star Citizens is in development. Okay, and they're changing their tech. When they came out, they didn't have ray tracing. When they came out, they didn't hide. Let's put it this way, did you know my PC is the only PC that can show 500, 600, 1,000 frames per second? Did you know that? I've actually tapered it down because I don't need all those frame rates. Okay? And what does that mean? Shimmering. It means at the end of the day, high quality graphic, you name it, it's got everything it needs. And if anything is missing, it kills the game experience. Okay? Half-Life Alyx, at the end of the day, as you can see, it's not a sit-down cockpit game. Oh, nobody's going to do well, like I said. Okay, let's look at figure tracking. As you know, Star Citizens, there's not enough keyboards. There's not enough keys. People are using all these stupid apps. Like me, for instance, I'm no exception. I use voice attack. I speak those commands, so it works. Yeah, I've done all that kind of things. I've even got AIs controlling my PC. I've done all of it. But when you're playing with other people, okay, voice attack doesn't work. Why? Because you're talking to your crew, and your ship is doing what it wants to do. You know what I mean? So your crew gets complicated. Remember, Star Citizen, at the end of the day, is not a single player game. It's an interactive game. But because we haven't got the crew, we have to use AI. So if you're playing with AI, it works. But if you're playing with a crew, you've got to switch this damn shit off. The man is speaking. Then you've got all these stupid apps. Can you see? It all depends on what you're playing and how you use the software. Well, what does this have to do with VR? Hey, guess what? AI. Yes, you heard right. What? Nobody wants to talk to an AI or listen to bullshit about an AI. But when the AI starts talking, you're not going to argue with it, because then you're going to sound like you're the freaking idiot. Because he's speaking your language. No, but seriously. The Samsung Galaxy XR and the future PC, you know, you got your touch tablets, okay, just like in the car, you want to reach across the dashboard and you want to touch these dials, okay. With the finger tracking, that's where the touch sensitive comes into play. So you don't need a keyboard, because you've not got a keyboard in the car, have you? You know what I mean? It's just like when you first came to Star Citizens, people were using keyboard to steer the ships. You would not go in a car and use a keyboard to steer a bloody car. You know what I mean? I tried to explain this to certain people. They looked at me as if I was a freaking idiot, because it was what they was used to. Well, what if that's the case? Why would they have joystick? Why would they have steering wheels? Why would they have yokes? So, like I said, at the end of the day, when you understand technology, what you use it for is your understandability. Now, when you start putting all these things together, it's the future of PC technology, okay? And you want it working out the box. If it's not working out the box, you're going to stick to what you know. I get it, okay? But if you don't know what you want, and some idiot like me comes and says, go buy this, go buy that, it's not going to work. Why? Because either your PC is not up to that spec, or the software you're running doesn't need it. That's the problem. Now with me, I research all future tech. So when I'm spending all this money, I know I'm spending it. I want a motion simulator. Okay? So when I'm flying around, I can feel all them jerks, get motion sickness, start screwing up in the cockpit. But when I worked it out, the motion simulator uses 2000 watts an hour. Oh, but we just covered that topic. The VR uses only 30 watts an hour, and the motion simulator is using 2000, 3000 watts an hour. What's it using? It's got all these shock absorbers, it's got all these motors in the background. Those are work on generating per power. And how much is 2000 watts an hour? You don't have a clue. But if you've got electric heater and that uses 100 watts an hour, 1000 watts an hour, you know you're not going to keep the heater on all frigging day, because you know it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, and you haven't got a kidney to sell. And this motion simulator that Flight Guy's got, he's going to sell his frigging kidney. But he's not told you that because he doesn't know himself. Because this guy said, guess what? You can use my flight simulator, just promote it for free of charge, and you can use it. But he has to pay for the electricity. But who's making the money? The guys with the motion simulator. Because an idiot like me didn't know it uses so much electricity. You see where I'm coming from? So we've all gone out and bought it. Then you've got the import duty. You can buy the flight simulator for 3,000 quid, or to get into the country it's costing you 4,000 quid. Well, that's 7,000 bloody quid. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I've been in there. But that's not the killer. The killer was the electricity it was using. Look into it and you see for yourself. This is what I mean about future tech. If you don't know what you're buying, you will buy it because it looks great on paper. Now every year a new tech comes out. When do you click on the buy? That is one question I can never answer. I've wanted a VR for the last 10 years. Alright? When I had the X299, I bought a VR. The tech there wasn't ready. It cost me over 1,000 quid, nearly 2 grand. That's because I got the Galaxy Note 8, the newest in the tech that day, and I got the Gear VR. It didn't work. Waste of money. I still got the Galaxy Note 8 today, and I still got the VR, but I'm not going to use it because it's a load of crap. And that's why, you see, when I'm going to go into something like this, I do my research first. What do I need to make it work? But at the same time, Toby was born. Yes, I got the Toby 4C. Okay? Way before Star Citizen. But when I bought it, I didn't know that Star Citizen wasn't using it. I understood the technology, but I didn't know it was incorporated their system. I had it in the box there for nearly 2 bloody years. And I said to myself, well look, I've got this tech, I know the principle of it. I have to write my own scripts. And that is what I did. I written my own scripts. And it bloody well worked. But then, somebody else in Star Citizens came out with something, they were selling it. But because I knew so much about it, I turned around and said, you can't use that. Why? Because it's too much on the resource, and the PC tech today can't handle it. But because he was making money on it, I had to be shut up quick. You see where I'm coming from? And that's what I mean. These big tech giants now, I have to be careful on what I'm saying, because remember, they've spent a lot of money. And if you're not saying things into their favor, you got problems. But luckily, I'm not making money out of this. But when I buy something, I'm making sure it works with my system. Like for instance, I've just spent £5 on this lossless scaling. Does it work? Yes, it does work. But like I said, when you incorporate other programs, 1 second, you get the raining effect. You see all that? Look at the whites. Okay, that's not shimmering, that's rain. It's like, this is what I name it. You go into a car and it's raining at night, and when it rains at night, the bright light shines on the windscreen, and you got this effect. All right, that's what I call the raining effect. The shimmer is totally different. Remember, I am using 2 programs here, and that's why you got that effect. But I'm not going to keep switching programs, because it means shutting down. Oh, I can. I'm talking wet here. 1 minute. I'm going to take away the effect, okay? Remember, I'm using lossless scaling, and I'm using the NVIDIA app. I can. But the way to do that is, I got to shut down the game. And then take out the smoothing out of the NVIDIA app, because the NVIDIA app don't work with lossless scaling and this program Afterburner. Okay, so why am I using it? Because of the frame rates and the smoothness and how much power it uses, you save when playing the game. But to do this, I'm going to do it right now, because I can't actually, now that I've thought about it, I can restart the game without restarting the stream. I'm trying to keep one stream on to show you the difference. Okay, look at the windscreen effect when it's raining with bright lights. That's desync. I don't care. That's actually desync on 2 programs. It's not shimmering. Okay. Oh, before I do that, let's go downstairs and I'll show you the shimmering. But you see, I'm also on the monitor. Okay, and I'm using what's that program called? OBS. So you cannot see it properly. But I'm going to show you. You've seen that. Remember that. All right. Now I'm going to show you the shimmering. What's that? And the shimmering you can cancel out by increasing the smoothing and the frame generation, which are proven. Oh, okay, bright light, as you can see, you've got the rainy effect, and now you've got this, like I said, I can see the shimmering. I can turn this off and I can show you the shimmering. But you've got the rain effect and you've now got the shimmering. Okay? But it's not bad there because my piece is highly tuned. Like tuning the guitar. Now I've done that, I'm going to log out and I'm going to switch off the smoothing in the NVIDIA app because it don't work with Star Citizens. But the difference with this, it uses more power. That's why I have to use afterburner, because I have to see what's going on in the background, you see. Yeah, I'm going to shut down the program, but I'm not going to shut down the streaming. Okay? I will tell you what I'm doing in the background, because there will be a black screen for a few minutes. I'm now going to shut down the launcher. I'm going to shut down lossless scaling. I'm not shut down the launcher yet. It's got to be shut down properly with the taskbar at the bottom. I'm now going to make sure afterburner is shut down properly. Okay. I'm going to go into the NVIDIA app because I'm in the test universe, and I'm going to go into the program of Star Citizen, and now I'm going to deactivate smoothing. It's not working. You guys will say it's working. Trust me, it's not working. I've now shut down smoothing in the NVIDIA app. Okay. Now I'm going to launch the game. I'm going to launch lossless scaling. And I'm also going to launch MSI Afterburner. Remember, MSI Afterburner, I have to use MSI because I need the numbers, because that's how I do my system analyzing to know what works with what, or things are going to start sizzling, and I don't want to burn up my 5090. I don't need to overclock the 5090. I just have to understand what it's doing. That's done. That's done. That's done. Okay, everything's up and running. Now I'm going to launch